Good evening. Following on from the government's briefing earlier this evening, I'd like to update and remind you how it impacts on Ashbourne and the surrounding areas. Before I do, can I thank the teams in Ashbourne COVID-19 Community Support Group and the support groups of our surrounding villages. They have all been extremely busy trying to reach out to all our residents who need us. NHS England have been sending out letters to vulnerable residents and those they consider to be at risk of COVID-19, either through age or underlying health issues. Can I reassure you all that our groups are here for everyone? Our residents have now received the leaflets regarding zones with the appropriate telephone numbers. The teams are going above and beyond, and I can't thank them enough for their professionalism and empathy. The Community Transport have issued the following information. Prescriptions from the Clifton Road Surgery and the Ashbourne Medical Practice can be collected and delivered. There will be a charge for this though. They are also working with the Brailsford and Holland surgeries to do the same. Their normal service to GP surgeries and St Oswald's Hospital for essential healthcare appointments is available. They're providing a local bus service too. Following the Swift service to Derby being cancelled, they have agreed with Derbyshire County Council to offer travel for key workers to Derby, especially the Derby Royal and Derby Community Hospital. They will also do shopping deliveries and have teamed up with the Ashbourne Traders Group, that's Nigel's and Mark's Butchers, Cheddar Gorge, Fresh Choice, Natural Choice and the Bakery. All the details are on the Ashbourne COVID-19 Community Support Group Facebook page. There are now 1,808 COVID-19 related deaths in the UK. And of course, we send our condolences to all their families and friends. These are vast numbers, and I know residents will be alarmed to hear them. 393 deaths have been recorded in the UK in the last 24 hours. Here in our community, we now have a growing number of residents showing symptoms and therefore are in self-isolation. What the government are trying to do is to drastically reduce the transmission rate of the virus so that our NHS can cope. I urge anyone showing any of the following symptoms to self-isolate immediately. If you have an unusually high temperature, this basically means that you feel hot when you touch your chest or your back. If you have a new continuous cough, this means coughing a lot more than normal. And if you usually have a cough, it may be worse than normal. That's what the government have issued instructions for us all to stay home, protect the NHS and save lives. I am still receiving reports of groups of young people ignoring the instructions that have been issued. And these and the photos I've received have been reported to the police. I have also had reports of groups of people having social gatherings at properties, one in particular on the Park Estate. Again, the details, including names and addresses, have been reported to the police. I can confirm that today I have been informed by the police that this is being investigated, including liaising with social housing. Anyone witnessing any of these, could I ask that you send me details? If possible, take a photo and send it to me. You are allowed to take a photo in a public place and include the names if you know who they are. As I've mentioned, our teams are extremely busy. We need to reduce the amount of times that we are going out shopping, etc. So with regard to prescriptions, we are collating all requests so that we make one trip to the pharmacy per day. Shopping trips will be one per week per household. I know that families are shopping for other family members that may be in self-isolation. So if you see anyone with an unusually full trolley, this is probably the reason. We are liaising with our shops and businesses in order that requests can be met, but there are restrictions on some products, and we cannot promise to get particular branded items. Details of shopping hours are on our COVID-19 Facebook page and on the relevant shop websites. One of the questions we are being asked is, what's the difference between isolating and shielding? Self-isolation applies to people who have symptoms of coronavirus and to the people who live with them. If you have symptoms, you need to self-isolate for 7 days. If you live with someone who is in self-isolation, you need to isolate for 14 days from the day the first person started having symptoms. Shielding is a way to protect people who are extremely vulnerable from coming into contact with coronavirus by minimizing all interaction between them and other people. These people are very high risk of severe illness from coronavirus. They need to avoid any face-to-face contact for at least 12 weeks from the day they receive their letter from NHS England or from their GP. All the information is on the NHS and gov.uk websites. It was quite emotional listening to the clapping last Thursday night for our NHS. Ashbourne really came out in support. Tom Ferry has asked that as many people as possible put up blue lights in support of our NHS, and I hope as many of you as possible will take up the challenge. If you don't have blue lights, put any colour up. We also have teddies and rainbow pictures in windows for the younger members of our community to look for and wave to on their daily walk. These may seem small things, but they bring a smile to all our faces and are a great help and comfort. Tomorrow, I will be attending the funeral of our Second World War veteran, Derek Manifold. I'm honoured to be able to recite Binniam's poem on behalf of the Ashbourne branch of the Royal British Legion. Derek's always been in my life, and I for one will miss him. He spent the war in the Royal Navy, travelling to all the hot spots, and always had a story to tell. As I remember, they were always amusing and very tongue-in-cheek. That was Derek. Rest in peace, Derek, and thank you for your service. We are also aware that social distancing and isolation is impacting on our mental health, and therefore we are liaising with outside agencies who specialise in this. These specialists are trained to deal with all aspects of mental and social health. We are particularly aware of those residents who live alone and are having to stay in. Humans are social species and crave company, and this is really difficult for some people. If you are well and live near someone who is alone, just keep your eye on them. Maybe telephone them to see if they're okay. Remember, we're all in this together, and together we'll get through it. So, stay at home, protect the NHS, and save lives.